as I mentioned, we have Annie McCary here. Well, welcome. How are you?
I am wonderful. It's great to be here again.
Good. And it was kind of funny, you were just mentioning before we came on, is that you said you're the perfect board member because you've been experiencing so many different things. And I think that's probably a great thing, right? Because then you know how to address all sorts of things.
Absolutely. It's just been an incredible learning experience, and putting my living experience with being on the board is just amazing. And as I was sharing, I've had some water leaks in my home, and many residents experience that.
Right.
I've had some issues with noise, and many residents have had an experience with that.
Right.
Now we're getting termites and termiting our buildings, so we have to move out. So when board members come to express their concerns about different things that go on in the mutual, I am the queen.
She'll be like, I know what you're going through.
I know.
Well, that's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the meetings themselves and, you know, when they are and that kind of thing.
Well, thank you. And one of the things I thought would be really great, and it was a learning experience for me, is what actually goes into preparing for a meeting.
Okay.
So on our meetings for Third Mutual, we meet the third Tuesday of every month. We meet in the Community Center boardroom on the first floor, and meetings start, of course, at 9:30 a.m.
Right.
And the meetings are open to everyone.
Right.
This is not a closed session meeting.
Okay.
So everyone is welcome.
Do you have a lot of people show up sometimes?
Sometimes, depending on the issue, people are passionate about certain issues.
Okay.
And when an issue comes up, then people will show up at the board meetings and make their opinions heard.
You know, I'm wondering if you know, how early is the agenda available to look at?
The agenda is available, and it's available at least 24 hours in advance.
Okay.
So people can go on and see what the agenda is.
Right.
And determine whether or not anything on that agenda is of interest to them.
Okay, so they can go to the Laguna Woods Village website, they go to governing boards, and they can find the agenda under whatever that is, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right, perfect.
And
Okay.
then the other thing is, if people want to watch the meetings on Granicus, they can do that, and there's also an agenda available on that.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, perfect. All right, good. So then, you know, how do you actually, you know, prepare your agenda? I mean, do you have meetings for that?
Yes, we call it agenda prep.
Okay.
And again, agenda prep meetings, we hold those on the second floor. And agenda prep is, again, it's an open meeting, it's not closed. So residents have attended our agenda prep meetings.
Okay.
And at this meeting, we talk about items to be placed on the agenda.
I see.
And each board member contributes to that. And there's some general stuff that goes on the agenda that are always included.
Okay, all right, wonderful. And you said you have an agenda prep meeting, which is what we just talked about. What are some other things that you do?
We, I'm sorry.
Well, so you post on the website ahead of the meeting date, right?
Yes,
So that's like, if you know, when the meeting's actually going to be, and then what are some of the other things, like different types of action items?
Oh, so those items are also on the agenda. That's posted on the website, and any item that's brought forward to the board for any action, we look at those, and those are called part of the agenda.
Okay.
We put those on there. When we start the meetings, the agenda has to be approved.
Okay.
So the president or the chair of the meeting will say, I call for a motion to approve the agenda.
I see.
And at that time, if a board member have an additional item that needs to be on the agenda, then that agenda item is placed on the agenda. And then the chair or the president will ask for an approval of the agenda.
Okay. And we had just gone over this last week with Anthony Liberatore, and we talked about Robert's rules and the parliamentary procedure. So obviously what you're describing to us is that procedure.
It's part of the parliamentary procedure.
Okay.
And we follow the Robert's Rules of Order
Right.
in terms of that as well.
Okay, excellent. Now, a consent calendar, what is that?
Consent calendar is a bunch of items or resolutions that have been passed by different committees.
Okay.
So the committee will have items, and we put those on the consent calendar. And rather than going through all of them at one individually at a time, sometimes it may be 5 or 6. And so we just approve the consent calendar.
Oh, okay. All right,
Okay.
excellent, excellent. And then, of course, we just made mention to rules, but let me, you refer to them as resolutions.
Resolutions, yeah. And resolutions are rules, again. Anything that a committee has made a decision on and brings it to the board is considered a resolution.
Okay, and then unfinished business, is that something that didn't happen in the last meeting?
It could be something that didn't happen or something that was on the agenda and maybe not completed, maybe needed a little bit more research or something like that, so then it's unfinished business.
Okay, all right, great. And then, of course, new business. Now, is new business something that was brought prior to the meeting or at that moment?
At that moment, any new item brought forward by a committee for the board to decide on.
Oh, okay. Okay, and then, of course, future agenda items.
Future agenda items, any items that maybe not discussed at this particular meeting, but items that maybe we want to talk about in the future, might need some research, some more thinking, and so we'll put it on for future agenda items.
Okay, all right, great. And then, of course, you always have committee reports.
We have committee reports. We have our third mutual committees, like our communications committee, our maintenance and construction committee. So each board member gives a committee report. We don't give a complete rundown of everything that happened, but any agenda items or any action items by a committee is kind of summarized under the committee reports for third.
Okay.
On the GRF committees, we have two board members on from the third board that are on all the GRF committees.
Okay.
So the board members on those committees, like the Community Activities Committee, we would give a report on what took place at that meeting, any agenda items that took place, a report is giving on that. And the president will go down through the agenda, we'll go through the third committee reports, and then the president will call for reports from the GRF committees.
And then, is that pretty much the case with the other boards as well? They have two members?
Yes,
on that too?
yes,
Okay.
2 members from each board, and then 3 members from the GRF committee.
Okay, what else does the committee report on?
The committee reports on any action items, like the landscaping committee, if there's some GRF stuff, even third, the landscape committee, the maintenance and construction committee, the water board committees, some of those types of committees, the media and communications committee, all of those committees we give reports for at our meetings.
Now, you're not only the first vice president, but you also have several other, I think, committees that you're on, right? So
yes.
what else do you serve
I
on?
chair the third communications committee.
Okay.
I'm also on the GRF Media and Communications Committee. I am on the landscape committee for third and also for United.
And I'm worried about being bored when I retire. I can't imagine. That's a lot of things you're doing.
It is a lot of stuff, but it's really rewarding to serve the community in this way. Okay. It's a learning experience, it's a growth experience, and it's an opportunity to be involved in the governance of Third Mutual and the whole village. We work very well with the management company, VMS. We meet with them on a regular basis. So it's really, really a community effort being on the board. So working with the VMS staff again and working with members of the other boards, it's really an opportunity to get to know our neighbors, whether we live in the same mutual as them or not.
Right.
It's an opportunity, and they're wonderful people, and we're all volunteering our time. So
exactly. Well, I feel like you're sort of the poster child for who would like to be on a committee or someone who maybe want to be on a board, because you're involved, you know the procedures. I mean, this has been, how long has it been? It's been a year on this particular board? Not quite.
It's over 2 years.
Over 2 years. Okay.
Yes.
So does that mean that you would not be the first vice president again? You'd be something different?
Well, no, each office get elected. So the board will elect the president and the first vice president.
Okay.
Yeah. And we just recently, we have some new board members, and we have a new board president, Mark Laws, and he's doing a wonderful job right now, and he really is encouraging people, if you want to participate in committees, if you want to be a committee advisor, please contact.
Because that's ongoing, right? That's ongoing.
It's ongoing.
Okay, great.
Really is ongoing.
Oh, we'll bring him on next time.
Okay.
Bring him on so we get to know who he is.
Okay, so Mark, you're on notice.
That's right. You're on notice, Mark, so don't forget. All right, thank you for the information. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. And if you want more information, you can always go to the LagunaWoodsVillage.com website. You go to governing boards, and then you would look up the different calendar, and they have all the different icons there, and you can click on them to find out what the agenda is, as well as how to log on virtually. We'll be right back.